Not an assist. I don't think he was credited as an assist for that. Nonetheless, wild finish in L.A., and that evens the series at 2 games apiece. Welcome, everybody. It's Playoff Central Live presented by State Farm. Robert Ory's in the house. Earl Watson's in the house. I'm Matt Weiner. Good to have you with us. I don't know where you guys want to start with this. I guess we start at the finish because that is the play of the game. When it happened live, I said, and I don't know if you guys agreed with me, I didn't think that counted. I thought it was still on his fingertips. Then we saw the replay, and I quickly thought, I don't think you can overturn this because I just don't really know. I'm sitting next to a man who has some legendary finishes in the playoffs, and he's giving us play-by-play. And, Rob, think about this. We got this thing in a shell drill called crackback on a shot. And so they're just watching. That allowed Aaron to get there and get that tip dunk. You guys also know it's also really hard to rebound an air ball because nobody anticipates that, right? You're not expecting that going in. Yeah, but still, though, you have to put a body on someone. You got 2 Clippers, 2 veterans, not young guys, 2 veterans in Powell and Harden not putting the body on Gordon. Probably one of the most dangerous offensive rebounders in the league, and they're watching the ball. And then they watch it go in Aaron Gordon's hands. The interesting thing is that both teams can look at that final play and say, well, this should have never happened in the first place because the Nuggets had the big lead before that combination of zone defense and shoddy offense, turnovers, etc. Saw it shrink down to nothing. Yeah, you think about the Nuggets dominated quarter 3, 35-17. It almost identically flipped in the fourth quarter, 34 to 16 Clippers. But when you talk about this, and, you know, Rob talked about this at the end of the game, is it sustainable? I'm not sure if the Nuggets can play all 5 players in a 7-game series, 3 games left, 42-plus minutes going game by game. The Clippers lost one at home. The advantage is going back and stealing one on the road. Nuggets just won a playoff game, by the way. Forget the result or the way it finished. Just won a playoff game with 4 points off their bench, which has been a theme for them even during their championship season. The bench has been an issue, and it's as thin as it's ever been. It's really thin. You know, you think about it now that the playoffs are going to have 2 rest days in between games, and you look at what Denver did. They got every starter averaging 42 minutes a game, and that's not good because now you're going to go back to Denver. I know we talk about the altitude, and you're used to it, but now the Clippers have figured something out. They're going to put a lot of pressure on you and make you tired. So not maybe like Game 5 or Game 6 or Game 7, those legs are going to get a little bit weary. So I'm worried about Denver in the sense that their bench is giving them nothing. Now, maybe they'll have Russell Westbrook back by then. He missed this game because of the foot injury. That would change things a little bit for them. But they're on a high wire right now in terms of David Adelman's rotation. Definitely. You think about, though, Brown came in, he stirred it up. If you're going to guard James Harden, Kawhi Leonard, you have to be a confrontational challenge on the other end. Confrontational competition is great, and he did it on the other end. I think the second half, going into the second half, the Nuggets fed off that energy and eventually led into the third quarter. 101-99. What a wild finish to even up this series at 2 games apiece. Game 5 will be Tuesday night on TNT back in Denver. We have the confrontation you referenced just before halftime in the second quarter. And I don't know if that means anything. Sometimes we tend to play armchair psychologists. But it did seem to maybe infuse the Nuggets with a little energy, a little boost, little edge. I think who it infused the most was Christian Braun. You think about he was the guy that was in the mix of it, and he was like a third-party participant. And I'm like, okay, why is in it? But you have to do things as veteran players in a situation like, especially a hostile situation like it is in Intuit Dome, to say, we got to do something because we already down 1 game. We got to tie this thing up to go back home. They handed out 5 technical fouls for that scuffle ultimately, and really led to nothing, but may have psychologically gotten the Nuggets back into this game. What a wild moment for Denver. Aaron Gordon afterward was breathless when he spoke to Allie LaForce. Punch by Aaron Gordon. Here's Ty Lue.
Ty, you've done this for a long time. Describe everything that happened all the way up to the end.
The whole game.
Well, just give us a synopsis of what you saw.
Yeah, I hate that stupid word, physicality, but they were more aggressive to start the game. I thought they picked their pressure up defensively, kind of sped us up. And then, just talked about it, in the timeouts at halftime, just being poised, getting to our spots, spacing, and not letting them speed us up. And at halftime, we had 10 random possessions, and we scored .20 on those possessions. Then when we got in stuff, we really did what we were supposed to do. And so just not fighting the pressure. I thought it was aggressive, like, they were supposed to be, being down 2-1. And we didn't really meet that intensity until the fourth quarter, And so that's just a lesson for us. Like, just stay the course, do what we're supposed to do. Continue to execute like we've been talking about. Don't get bored with the process. If they're going to blitz us or they're going to do those things, you've done your job. Just get off the basketball, make the right play. And I thought their aggressiveness kind of took us out of what we've been doing. So 2-2, they're a good team, great team. Won a championship a couple years ago, and so they're not going to give in. Like, we got to beat them, and that's okay, And so go to Denver on Tuesday and be ready with not really a new game plan, but a new mindset of what we need to do. And I thought, DA did a good job tonight. I thought he did a good job of mixing stuff up, and they hit us with some different things. And like I said, we'll be ready for next game. But our mentality is like, listen, we understand how we got to play. We know the blueprint, so now we just got to do it.
The last shot.
Things we've been talking about for 5 years, offensive rebounds, and you get beat on the offensive rebound. But, Jokic shot an air ball, wasn't really expecting that. Brown cut to the middle of the floor, and, James and Norm was kind of in between trying to, check with him, and Gordon made a hell of a play, so, it is what it is.
It seemed like Nikola really just made an effort to get in that restricted area, just score buckets on you guys. Like, what was it about his effort tonight that would,
The same effort we told you before the game and after last game. He's going to be aggressive, and he's going to look to score the basketball. When his team is down and, they're fighting for their lives, like, he's got to be the one that controls the game and do what he does. And like I said, 36 and 21, 8 assists. He was aggressive, and so that's what, great players do. And we expected that, and so just got to be ready for, ready for Game 5. They played a good game. And in the fourth quarter, we saw some things that we can do differently. But for the most part, like I said, we got to come out and meet their aggression to start the game, Game 5.
3 of the 4 games now have been decided by basically one possession at the buzzer. Like, how much does that maybe, obviously possessions are important, but stress the importance of every single possession just matters so much?
Yeah, I mean, we stress it a lot, and taking care of the basketball, we only had turnovers, and we just didn't get the shots that we've been getting, throughout the course of the series. And we took some shots that we don't normally take as well, some questionable shots. But you got to be better. Just, stay with it. They're going to give you the answers to the test. And if you play the right way and do what we're supposed to do, we're going to get great shots.
Ty, what allowed you guys to get back in the game in the fourth quarter?
Picked up our intensity, being more aggressive, showed up some different looks, played a little zone, put Zoo on Gordon a little bit, just mixing it up a little bit, and kind of got him, off guard a little bit, kind of surprised him, and was able to take advantage of it. We was able to get stops, play fast.